Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Today we are going to dissect this message, state-sponsored message that was received on some Neta's phones. Amazingly, all of them seem to have iPhones, which in itself is, a coincidence. Why? They don't like the Android phones. Would Mr. 𝗤𝙪 Tharoor call it as cattle class phone? I hope not. Actually, I have both phones. There are great features in both phones. So I rest my case. But most importantly, there is an organization that is screaming. They didn't even try to hide it. It is screaming, saying that perhaps you should look at us. Perhaps you should look at us. Perhaps you should look at us. So which is that? I'm going to reveal that in just one moment. But before I go further, please like this video. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. And if you happen to be living in the United States, I hope you have ordered your Sengol. We have only a limited release of 100 Sengols. We are well past the halfway mark now. And once the 100 finishes, I'm going to probably stop and then maybe restart the window a little bit later, depending on how many requests I get. I want the first lot to go out. So if you have not ordered your Sengol, do so now. Here we go. Here is the important connection. Mr. Soros-backed anti-India portal. It's called Access Now. Once I tell you who are all on their board, it's going to blow your mind. Literally, it's going to blow your mind, guys. I'm manning the comments also, so I might be a little bit sluggish in responding to all your requests. But when I reveal to you who are all on their board, that will completely take your breath away. So what has it done? Now, OSINT, Open Source Intelligence, has done a lot of work on it, and my talk is going to be based on this and decoding some of the things that they have uncovered. For example, the Apple's state-sponsored attacks alert, it was sponsored a dubious platform Access Now, which is by design an anti-India portal funded by Soros and 𝗤𝗎𝘄𝘗. Pierre 𝗤𝗎𝘄𝘗, the founder of eBay, he now lives in Hawaii. He's been trying to make some mischief there also, but he's also, excuse me, he has actually invested in some of the media startups in India. I have to tell you one thing, guys. Except PGurus and a handful of others, everybody else has these kinds of funding. Only there are a few of us who completely rely on ad-based funding, and we are very careful to make sure that we say the truth and nothing but the truth. So who is behind this Access Now, and how can we make the connect? Here we go. The first thing is, there is this individual by the name of 𝗣𝗚𝗄𝘆. He is a host and moderator of India on the Brink event. Remember, there was Dismantling Global Hindutva. That was in 2021. In 2022, they came up with another seminar. They called it India on the Brink. I don't know where they come up with these words. Every time I come to India, that's once every 3 minutes. Not 3 minutes, once every 3 months, I see some amazing progress. Amazing progress, guys. Things are getting better. Things are getting smoother. There was a time when people used to say, in India, you can only get one thing done in a day. Not true anymore. You need to know a little bit of the ins and outs, the places where you can get things done quickly. Now you can easily do 3, 4, 5 things in a day. Yes, I tell you, I do it. That's why I'm saying this. And it's streamlined quite a bit. People know that time is the most valuable commodity in our hands, especially in the cities. Anyway, I digress. So this event, India on the Brink, who were the people who were supporting it? There is the Jamaat ecosystem, the IIMC, the Aphabet Soup. Who are the people? Rashid Ahmed, Ajit Sahi, Ritumbara Manuvi, and SQR Ilyas. If you look at the Hudson Foundation talk that Rahul Gandhi gave, who was sitting by his side? Sunita Vishwanath. There you go. She's in the Soros ecosystem. And there was also Ajit Sahi, who was supposed to have been the one who organized the whole thing, getting all the reservations done, food, all that hard details, getting a crowd. That's also right. So these are the people who invited Rahul Gandhi. In fact, I can tell you just about 99% of all the events that Rahul Gandhi attended had them supporting him in one way or the other. I didn't see any overseas Indian National Congress, with the exception of a few people like, what's his name? The guy from Sam Pitroda, Satyendra Narayan Pitroda. Anyway, So there is a Twitter handle, I am the story. They did a great job in deconstructing Access Now and its funding. But there is a massive disinformation and propaganda nexus against India, from the Islamists to so-called devious philanthropic institutions and park-based Jamaat entities and individuals. Do you remember watching that one video that I did where I was comparing Hindus for Human Rights and their sister organizations, and the equivalents of that in Israel? It's called Jewish Voice for Peace. And you know who runs it? Sunita Vishwanath's husband, who happens to be a Jew. I mean, this is just out of the world, guys. Anyway, next. So to start with, 𝗣𝗚𝗲𝗿, I showed you his picture, the US campaigner of Access Now. He is currently living in the United Kingdom. He supports the strategic outreach to policymakers, civil society, and media. But more importantly, he's been associated with anti-India groups across the globe. Mr. 𝗤𝗲𝗿 has an interesting background. In past, he has worked at the US Department of Commerce and Homeland Security. He also, by the way, these things happen because every administration, right, they'll bring some people on board, they'll use them for 2, 4, 6, 8 years, depending on how many terms the president runs or lasts. And then those people go back to their whatever they were doing before that. There's nothing illegal in all these things. There's nothing illegal in all these things, except maybe if they are laundering money to get money into India. That's a different aspect. I'm not going to touch upon that. All I'm trying to tell you is the foundation, the fountain from where all these ideas come, they happen to be amazingly the same ones. And they seem to be funded by the same group. So here we go. So he has also worked with Senators Michael Bennet and Mark Udall. And besides, he has also spent years in conflict zones, including Nigeria, Iraq, and Syria on US government programs. I mean, these are all people who ply their craft in Washington, D.C., and that's how they make their living. It can't be a coincidence that a guy working for US government happens to be in cohorts with an anti-India groups funded by George Soros, 𝗤𝗓𝘗𝘗, etc., that throw millions of dollars to intrude into democracies of other countries. To add more context, one need to go back a year and a half. So we are going back. Where are we going? A year and a half back, he was employed by TSN, the Signals Network, a whistleblower support organization in the US. And who funds them? Well, we'll save you some time. This is the OSINT has got into this narrative. They are hitting the high gears here. Their donors include Open Society Foundation, 𝗤𝗓𝘗𝘗, and MacArthur Foundation. Next, we have the person 𝗣𝗚𝗲𝗿. He's a project manager. This is his resume, and he talks about all the things he did there in the Signals Network, led the strategic development and implementation of TSN. I'm going to give you the link. It's already there, in fact. For the first time, I got the link before I went live. It's in the description section. You can click on that. It's a long tweet thread from OSINT. You can read this information. Now, what I'm trying to do is to get a little bit more context around this. And in this TSN, they're already saying that their funders are Open Society Foundations, MacArthur Foundation, etc., and also 𝗤𝗓𝘗𝘗 networks. So there's nothing hidden there. Like I told, this is not illegal. Does TSN ring a bell? Well, remember the India on the Brink, a 3-day India Genocide Summit 2022, co-organized by anti-India group organizations, IAMC, Aphabet Soup. You get the idea, right? While today these groups are in a run for their credibility, they hosted the event to discredit India. They've been trying this since 2014. They just have been spending sleepless nights figuring out how to get things back to the way they were before 2014. And they seem to stop at nothing to achieve their objective. Next one. Here are some slides of that India on the Brink, Preventing Genocide, 26 February, 28 February 2022. And here are the summit partners, IAMC and CARE, blah, 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 Signals Network, and so on and so forth. London story, that's also, I showed you this big thing, right, from this info lab. I showed you the entire connect of how these people come up with, different variations. That name has to have an Islam or an Indian or an America or something like that to kind of make the point, drive the point home as to what they are. Now, also remember, Hindus for Human Rights, it's also from the same Aphabet Soup. OSINT, India on the Brink was chaired by 3 fronts, IAMC, Foundation, The London Story, and Genocide Watch. These fronts have been exposed by us. Yes, we have done this thing many times before. Now, there were 3 co-chairs, Greg Stanton, Ritambara Maruvi, and Raheel Ahmed. These were the 3 summit co-chairs. Mr. Ben is no saint. His employer, TSN, is not only sponsored the event, but he was also a moderator of this sly get-together. Now, why would Ben, with such an unrelated background, be party to an anti-India propaganda hosted by Islamists and Soros agents? Why? Getting paid to do that is not a reason? Well, we don't know. The big lie, the Hindutva and the power of propaganda. Angana Chatterjee. Again, see, 10 people. Again and again and again and again. These are the people. When I tell you who is on the board, of accessnow.org, you will completely understand this ecosystem. And who were the other eminent or notorious individuals part of this devious get-together? Well, Open Society Foundation has many Pakistan-based academics, and this 3-day event had the attendance of them all. These are, 𝗤𝙗𝘗 𝗢𝘂𝘁𝑆, Gregory Stanton, Adama Dieng, I think he's now back in Africa, if I remember correctly. R.B. Sree Kumar. I mean, I'm just reading some names here and there from there. Sunita Vishwanathan, blah, blah, blah. So you get the idea, guys. You see the same set of people. 𝗠𝙁 𝗢𝘅 was there, I think he goes by the name Shepherd now. Any rate, among the 59, here we make it even easy for you. 59 guests, speakers included OSF-funded Arjun Sethi, Anurima Bhargava, she was in USC IRF, Sunita Vishwanath, and Gregory Stanton. Others, past of the Islamic circuit, Angana Chatterjee, ISI agent Fai's friend Ghulam Nabi Fai, Police Project Suchitra Vijayan, and Hindutva Watch's Rakib Hamid Naik, among others. Also, we showed you this in the beginning. Same thing, it is just expanded in a big way, magnified. Now, India on the Brink project ceases to exist today in its entirety. Why? Because that get-together flopped when it was completely exposed by Disinfolab last year. Hence, they needed to regroup and have a new credible-looking front, given now they have a crisis. So what did they do? The same fronts, JFA, IIMC, and Hindus for Human Rights, co-sponsored a 3-day event, India Genocide Summit 2022. The luminaries at the event included former SIMI founders, SQR Ilyas, Akar Patel, Safura Zarga. Remember that name? That person shouting in Delhi. Actually, she got imprisoned. She got jailed, if I remember correctly. Some articles about that are her in PGurus.com. Do look her up. 𝗤𝙗𝘗 𝗢𝘂𝘁 and 𝗠𝐻 𝗖𝙩𝘗, Mr. Shepherd. Cut to present. A set of Indian politicians received a notification from Apple about some state-sponsored attacks on their devices. Guys, this is nothing but spoofing, if you ask me personally, because I get so many mails. It will have the nice logo of like a brand like Apple or Xfinity or something else, and make you feel like you need to click on it. And that's you. Once you click on it, a malware will reside onto your system. Then you are doomed. So that is really the bait click. Well, one of the forms of bait click. So these are all things that happen all the time. So is that what happened? I don't think these netas are that iPhone's computer savvy. I mean, iPhone is a computer after all. So I don't know if they inadvertently click on it, and God knows what kind of malware got in there. Anyway, while it's understandable, Apple didn't tell who was behind the attempt, it did manage to prompt an org harnessed by these anti-India nexus, and who promoted the entire fad all over? The same set of people. So they know they are sending this fake email. Therefore, they are ready to make the noise. The toolkit is ready before you send the email. Once the email is sent, the toolkit is starting to put into play. That's it. They did that with India on the Brink. They did that with Pegasus software also. Now, here is the interesting thing. This is a copy of the state-sponsored attackers, maybe targeting your iPhone, all sorts of stuff. By the way, there is a thread by Sanjeev Sanyal. He has done some debugging. I've taken some of these screens from his tweet line, and that also is in the description section. You can go and look it up. If I missed putting it there, I will put it there right after the show. Now, what could have happened? Three possibilities. One is, this is an impersonation. That's what I said as a spoofing, right? But Apple has not yet claimed it. In other words, Apple hasn't come out and said this is some fake organization that impersonated us by putting our logo and so on and so forth. Typically I've seen no company in the US does that. It's up to you whether you are smart enough to not click on the bait, on the link, and then get infected. You just see, what I know is, like, for example, if I get an email from IRS, I know that's fake. IRS is something that scares everybody because, oh my God, I owe money to the government. So I avoid that, because IRS says again and again, we will only send you letters. We will never send you an email. So I know how to avoid. So I avoid IRS. Same thing, Xfinity, because it's internet provider, they tend to do it. Same thing with AT&T, other cell phone providers, Verizon, everything. So all these people, use that logo, make it look very authentic, and then tell you that you could be getting a break if you click on this button, come and claim your reward, that sort of stuff. But that is one. Second one is, maybe Apple has outsourced its technical security systems to an NGO, which happens to be Access Now, or Apple's security system has been infiltrated by agenda-driven groups that are now driving it, which has many other implications. I kind of don't believe that 2 or 3 happened. I think that 1 happened, that somebody has spoofed and they figured out whom to send the messages to, and for good measure they sent it to some people in the BJP also. That way they won't get saying that, oh, you stage manage the entire thing. Never beyond them. Okay, now these are some of the messages that came. Again, you can go and look at the OSN thread to get more details into this. They have been trying to portray India as a fascist country. I can tell you, I'm not 100% happy with the form of democracy that runs in India, but this is common among all parties. It's not like one party is less democratic or more democratic, the other one is less fascist or more fascist. Whatever applies to, say, BJP applies to Congress, applies to Samajwadi Party, all the way down the line to DMK and even to Pinarayi Vijayan. This man is trying to make this his personal family party now. Anyway, their anti-India agenda always gets exposed, but they continue to persist. So this is where things stand now. Now, I didn't tell you who the member, who is the person who's on their board. Seema Chishti. Do you know who she is? She is the wife of CPIM leader Sitaram Yechury. So no surprise at all, guys. This is an ecosystem that is so brazen that they don't think, they need to camouflage to create a certain degree of separation to try and say, well, maybe there is something could be right about what Access Now is doing. I would like everyone to come and take a look at it. No, none of that stuff. They are just blatantly out trying to see if they can shake you down. So this is like creating a wave, creating a buzz when there is nothing there. That's all I have now. I'll rest my case and let me see if there's any questions from all of you. I hope you have already liked this video and you have subscribed to our channel. If you have not already done so, consider doing so now. Poonam Abhi wants to know, Sree, what the likes of these are doing is what we say in Bhagyanagar. Chori ki bomdi sabse aage. True. And Amit Patel, thank you so much. You know why I like Islamic countries with Islamic rules? They don't let kafirs to rule. Yes, they have a lot of bias. At least they are fidel to their own people and their desert culture. Well, it's a matter of choice. I think United States has benefited tremendously from its open immigration policy. Absolutely, hands down. You look at some of the most successful companies, they've all been founded by immigrants who work twice as hard to get half the credit. That one is true, by the way. Any immigrant has to prove himself or herself over and over and again, and they don't get the complete credit that somebody else who's been living in this country does. That is very true. This is an interesting observation. Sanjeev Verma says, sir, anonymous people are approaching students in Irish University to park some money in their student accounts and then transfer that money to another anonymous account after that it is white money. Most people, at least in the United States, the tax system allows you to get up to 15,000 in donations. That doesn't get reported onto your taxable income. This could be the rules that they might be doing. Unfortunately, because of a few bad apples, even a good system, because sometimes what happens is your children are going to college or they are in need of some money, the parents will give them money, and if it is something of that nature, you don't want to penalize them by saying, okay, you shall pay taxes on the 15,000 you received from your dad or your mom. So I think that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching. And again, this was a surprise episode that I did. I was going to record it. Then I figured, well, maybe I should make it live in case some of you have some questions so that I can answer. By the way, in 4 hours' time, 𝗤𝙑𝙤 Sriram and I will be talking about the prospects of who's going to win in Chhattisgarh. Some amazing revelations have been happening over the evening. This will be the latest up-to-date information. BJP has been gaining ground, I'm told. Again, this is what I'm told. He will have a more accurate information. South Chhattisgarh or North Chhattisgarh, who's the impact person, what is happening, how many more visits that Modi have in the days and weeks leading up to the elections, all that and more from the one and only 𝗤𝗣𝗍 Sriram. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.